Hey everyone, welcome to episode 6 of the New Slang podcast. I'm Thomas Mooney, the editor-in-chief of New Slang here in Lubbock. This week's episode is sponsored by the Blue Light Live, located in the heart of the depot. This Friday, it's finally come. It's the big William Clark Green street show party. They'll be shutting down Buddy Holly right in front of the Blue Light and putting up a big stage on one end, and Flatland Cavalry, Red Shahan, American Aquarium, and William Clark Green will be playing that stage. Doors open at 7 p.m. If you want to purchase your pre-sale tickets, go over to the bluelightlive.com, scroll down, and find the tickets link below Will's name. This is going to be one of those rare shows that are 18 years old and older, so if you're under 21, here's your one chance to get inside the Blue Light. The rest of this week's schedule is a pretty solid one as well. Tonight, that's going to be Wednesday. It's Jim Dixon and Brian McRae. There are a couple of Lubbock songwriters. Thursday, it's going to be Wood and Wire. They're a hell of a four-piece bluegrassy kind of band out of Austin. Friday is, of course, the street show with Flatland, Red, American Aquarium, and Will Clark Green. And then Saturday, I believe he's making his Blue Light debut. It's going to be Big Joe Walker. This week's episode, we sat down with Ben Hussey, the bass player for Dolly Shine. I've known Ben for a while now. Back in his Six Market Boulevard days, whenever they'd play here in Lubbock, we'd typically go over to the Castle's house after and drink a few beers and just talk about music. And so whenever I picked him up a few weeks ago to go do this podcast, it wasn't much different. His beard's a little bit longer. It's a little bit more Rick Rubin style, a little bit more gray. So I don't know. It was a lot of fun. If you've not checked out New Slang in a while, there's a few things that might interest you. Grady Spencer and the Works' new record, The Line Between. There's a small preview of the record over on New Slang right now. It's officially out next Friday. It's going to be the April 22nd. And then Amarillo songwriter Chancey Burnson, he's got a new record coming out this Friday, and it's called Back in Time. It's going to be streaming over there on the website until Friday as well. And then over there on Lone Star Music's website, I have this pretty in-depth interview with Dave Cobb. The Dave Cobb, like one of the best producers in American music right now. Which, if you want to go check that out and you haven't yet, go to LoneStarMusicMagazine.com, search for Dave Cobb or my name, Thomas Mooney, and find it. You'll find some other things I've written over there. Which also sometime this week, maybe today, maybe a little bit later in the week, there's going to be a profile piece that I wrote on Dolly Shine as well about their new record coming out here in June. It's called Walkabout. We talk about Walkabout in this interview with Ben as well, so you can read that and listen to this and have major insight on the record. We don't have a store set up on New Slang just yet. We're working on that, but we do have some new New Slang t-shirts available. If you're here in Lubbock, you can just find me somewhere, and I'll have the t-shirts mainly on me, or we can meet somewhere. I'll be at the Blue Light or at the William Clark Green Street Show, so just find me there and you can purchase your t-shirt. But if you're outside of Lubbock, just shoot us an email over at newslang.editors@gmail.com, and we'll figure out a way to get you a t-shirt. If you haven't yet, go and subscribe to the New Slang podcast over on iTunes. While you're there, please give us a rating and a review. It'll help us out immensely. Okay, now on to the conversation with Ben Hussey about Dolly Shine and Boyd Street recording and other cool music stuff. Yeah?
Yeah.
Well, we really don't do intros on here, so
Okay.
we just talk right now.
Cool. Were you recording what I just said?
No, not that
Okay,
part.
good. might have to do some editing.
I literally hit record right after you finished that.
Beautiful timing.
Yeah. Anyways, we were talking about this earlier. You guys went from Amarillo down to Midland, back up here.
Yeah.
In a van without much AC happening.
No, and we had it for about 5 minutes today, and it was a very glorious 5 minutes. It was those first 5 minutes in the van where you stumble out of the hotel room and you're like, what am I doing with my life? And you lay down in your seat, and then all of a sudden you get hit with this beautiful cold air, and then it went away again.
The Lord giveth and the Lord taketh away.
Yeah, right. The van giveth and the van taketh away.
You go. Yeah, so you have this new record coming out.
We do. Walkabout. Be June 10th is the official release date. We just got all the masters back last week.
Mm-hmm.
And it sounds great. We recorded it at my studio, mine and Josh Dorado's studio in Stephenville, which was actually, that'll be the last project we do in the trailer house. We're upgrading to a new room out at Larry Joe Taylor's ranch, and that's going to be very, very nice.
Yeah, man.
So it was cool to kind of have this Dolly Shine record, because it was the first record we did at the trailer house was their all-in EP back 2 years ago or something like that. And so it's kind of like full circle with the trailer house, and it's a good record to end it on. It's pretty strong.
Mm-hmm. Do you feel like this record, I mean, you weren't in the band on that first record or anything like that. Is it different viewing the, I guess, them as the band? How has it changed your view of the band, going from being more producer to being bassist and producer on this new record?
You know, it's the first time that I've had to wear like both sets of those shoes. With the bands I was in before, since Six Market, you know, they already had records done or were going with other guys to record, and so I would just play the parts that were on the record. And with the guys that we've produced, I just play what's on the record, and then they go off to somebody else to play bass for them. So it's been kind of a strange balancing act that took me a little getting used to, as far as what it means to be in the band and then what it means to be producing the band. It's been an interesting test of patience.
What do you think, like, when it comes down to it, what supersedes the other?
At the end of the day, I think the producer role, I don't want to say it's more important, but you know, you have to make decisions, and as a bassist, you just have to make decisions about a couple of things, you know, where the groove's going to go and how the pocket's going to sit. But in the producer role, Josh and I kind of, you know, hold the entire record in our hands. So there was a lot of just that, you know, holding the record and keeping everybody in line and trying to keep the themes and the tones consistent throughout the whole thing. Yeah, I guess.
Mm-hmm. I've listened to the record, and it feels like this record overall is a little bit more gritty.
Yeah.
There's, like, in the songwriting too, I think there's a little bit more storyteller, more going into character kind of based songs.
I think you're exactly right. A lot of the gritty musically is coming from Jared and Jared Felucci, the guitar player, and what he and I and Josh all kind of envisioned for the guitar tones and how we set them up. And I think the guitar tones on here are really cool, and it's they're real good about setting kind of the mood for the lyrics. Somebody the other day, I was talking to Brandy Reed, was doing an interview for her for something, and she called it what did she call it? Grunge country.
Grunge country.
Yeah. And I said, man, that's cool. I'll take that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it is. There's a lot of angst in the record. A lot of there's that one song, "Closing Time," that our friend Taylor Davis from down in Gonzales wrote, and the hook line is, "I love you, baby, but I love you, baby, but I hate you," and it's like, yeah, you have to be able to be honest like that sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that song, we talked about it before. That Snakeskin Boots.
Yeah,
it's kind of like a. I really thought it felt very James McMurtry-ish, little Chris Knight-ish.
Yeah, that's
with
probably the coolest thing you could say.
But it really fits It really fits because you're saying Jared wrote that song.
Yeah, Jared wrote that song several years ago, and he's tried several different versions of it with different feels and different grooves. And when we were doing pre-production a couple weeks before we started on the record, we kind of toyed around with a couple different ways of doing it, and they would be a little too one directional, or one dimensional rather, and we just kind of stripped it down and started over like it was a brand new song.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how we got it to we toyed with the arrangement quite a bit from what he had it. I think he had maybe 2 chords in it, and we took it to like 7.
Yeah.
Just kind of keep the mood interesting. And once we got that set with the groove between Johnny and I, when we started building on top of it, we were able to come up with these really cool ideas, like the intro. We did a lot of lo-fi tracking of a couple different banjo parts and a mandolin part and a couple different guitar parts, and kind of just fuzzed them out, made them sound like old school, like, oh, them boys go in there and give this guy 30 cents, record it in his can.
Yeah.
Sort of thing, And we just wanted to, from the start of that song, let you know that it's going to take you somewhere emotionally, because it is. It's lyrically, it's a very emotional song.
Yeah.
And we wanted the music to represent the kind of chaos that goes on through there.
Yeah. There's a real Turnpike kind of vibe through it too, as far as it being a little dark and gritty.
Right.
It kind of has like that same little rhythm as not necessarily rhythm, but same push as Before the Devil Knows You're Dead.
Oh yeah, that
it,
one, and what's that other one? Oh God, I can't think of the name of it. It's in Drop D. Gin and Smoke and Lies.
Yeah.
It kind of has that feel too, which is cool. It works. It sells. Mm-hmm. But they've done a real good job of making their records, and it was kind of cool to think about that and the direction that they go, and try to not necessarily mimic it, but just kind of get those feels.
Mm-hmm.
So it's all stuff that we really enjoy listening to.
Yeah. Well, that's one of the things I've always thought about is I don't know if it's just because artists don't want to admit this, or if they maybe it just doesn't happen. But if I was a musician and I was like, this song, I want it to sound like this and this and this, and give examples of
right.
what direction I would want to push it into, and I mean I don't necessarily know why others don't want to. I maybe admit that,
right?
Or they want. I mean, maybe it's a little bit more organic than that. That you just pulled it from the air.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's a bad thing to be like, I want this to sound a little bit like this and this.
Right. No, it's I don't think it is at all, because it kind of helps everyone get on the same page as far as the direction you're going. And I mean, it's all been done before anyways. So,
yeah.
But I take it as a compliment as a producer and a player. Like if somebody says, "Oh, hey, that really sounds like that acoustic guitar tone off Rumors or something," it's like, well, yeah, cool. That's what we were going for. All right.
Yeah.
Job well done.
Yeah. This record too, There's a little bit more. Do you feel it's a little bit more collaborative as far as the songwriting goes?
Yeah.
'Cause, I mean, you've got a song written on here.
Yeah, I've got
as well.
I got a song, and it's actually cool for me. It was the first song that I wrote specifically for something.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Zach was compiling songs for the record, and it was about a week before we were going into pre-pro, and I knew that he had some of the material there, but didn't have it all there. And I said, man, I bet I could bang something out pretty quick that would work real well on this record. And so it was kind of a challenge. I challenged myself because I knew the ideas that we were going towards for the record. So I was like, okay, let's write a song that will just fit in with these other, 8, 9 tracks, whatever it is. And I did. I'd already had the hook. I'd come up with the hook driving somewhere. I don't know, like use the voice memos on my phone to keep up with all that.
Yeah.
But sat down in my office and knocked it out in about 20 minutes. And I sent the lyrics to Zach. I was like, I don't really have a chord progression for this yet. So just kind of, Dolly Shine it. I said, all right. So by the time they got into pre-production, he'd been messing with it a little bit, and we solidified the progressions and made some real cool chord choices. I really liked the feel of the song. Hasn't really been going over live that well yet, but it's a new tune. They'll get it eventually, hopefully.
Yeah.
But there's that Rattlesnake, which is our first single that's been released. I think it's been doing pretty well up here.
Mm-hmm.
So thanks, David Wild and the 105.3 people. Can I plug that? Is that cool?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I guess.
Well, it's
that part right there is just going to be censored out.
Yeah, right. No, they actually, Zach had wrote that song probably about a year ago, and they came in and recorded it because it was pre-production for what eventually became this record, but it was in the very early stages, like I said, it was about a year ago. And they finished that one, and we mixed it and had it mastered and actually released it once before as a digital download on a card that they were giving out at the Larry Joe Taylor Festival that year. So when that day, Johnny, I remember Josh and Johnny were working on the drum parts, and Zach and Jared and Wes and Dylan Sampson was in the band at the time. The rest of us, we all went and stood out in the field and with a couple guitars and some notepads, and like, okay, we've got this, let's tie it all together. And so that one was very collaborative as far as if somebody wasn't working on tracking their part in the studio, they were out in the field with us drinking Papa's homemade whiskey and finishing up the lyrics. Twist a Knife is another song on the record that Zach and I co-wrote together. It was one of those deals where he had probably half of it. He didn't have an intro line or a progression. And so the rest of the guys all went into town to grab something to eat, and Zach and I just kind of sat there in the control room, and I started fooling around with the progression that kind of fit his melody and threw out a couple lines, and he tidied up the rest of it.
Yeah.
So yeah, there has been a lot of collaboration, which is good. It helps us all grow,
Mm-hmm. That song Rattlesnake, that's just like straight up train song.
Yeah.
Yeah. It feels very much like just like some outlaws on horseback seeing a train go by.
Right.
That's at least what it feels to me. It feels very
for the longest
desert
time,
rockish.
Yeah, well, we didn't have a title for it for the longest time, so it was called the Desert Tune. Actually, we didn't have a title for it until the day it shipped out to radio, because they were like, "Hey, you guys have to call this song something."
Yeah.
Are y'all sure y'all want to just call it the Desert Tune? And we're like, hell, I guess we'll come up with something else.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we wanted that vibe, that whole just feel like you're by yourself in like Danny's old truck driving through the desert or something, And I think we captured it pretty well. There's a lot of space there that kind of, when you put a lot of space in a song on a record, it leaves a lot up to the imagination of the listener.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's a really cool thing to do because it makes the listener start feeling things, you know?
Yeah. It's there's always been a lot of space in songs from up here, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Like old Terry Allen stuff
Right.
is always so spacey.
Mm-hmm.
That's space is that's one of those things, like space is a sound.
Right.
You know?
Right.
No noise is a noise in a way. So
I heard this story one time about T-Bone Burnett. Some guy came up to him after he had listened to a new record that T-Bone had put out, and he goes, "Man, I thought you did a really great job producing that, but there's one song where I could have really heard some keys, and you didn't put any keys on it." And T-Bone goes, "So you heard a keys part in your head?" Guy goes, "Yeah." He goes, "All right, well, I guess I did my job." Song didn't really need him.
yeah. Speaking of like producing though, overall, you and Josh have I guess made a partnership, a collab team.
Yeah.
What's it been like working with him?
Oh, it's everything from amazing to devastating. Oh, I love Josh. He's my best friend, you know, and we work real well together. But really, over the past year or so, it's been more of a tag team sort of thing, you know, because I'll go out on the road for a couple weeks, or like, you know, I was in Europe for a couple months last year, and so then he's working on the studio, and then I get back, and he's like, "Okay, well, I got to go out for a month with Will." So it's just, "Hey, good to see you. This is where I'm at on this record." You know,
Yeah.
we'll catch up when I get back, and it's nice because we're busy, and we're both going whenever we're not on the road. We've got that going pretty much full time now, which is why it's going to be nice to upgrade also. But he's a whiz. You know, he's just a whiz kid. He can play his ass off on anything you put in his hands, really. And so watching him work is he knew a lot more about recording than I did and than I still do. He just has grown up doing it, and he really nerds out on it. So I've learned a lot just from sitting in the room watching him do things, watching how he does things, watching how he structures things. And it's been a lot of fun to learn. You know, we decided to do it when Six Market split up. We were like, oh, because we thought, you know, that was going to be our band for, you know, forever. And we both kind of realized, oh shit, these gigs can go away. So we need to do something that isn't going to go away, that we're in complete control of at all times.
Mm-hmm.
And so we got some money together and bought some gear, and, you know, just went right to work. And it's been a blast. I really enjoy doing it. It's, you know, I always say, like, live shows are great. Live shows are fun, and they capture a moment that will never exist again, and it's really special. But when you're making a record, you're making like a lasting art project, you know.
Yeah. The record or the EP that you guys did with Brandon,
that's hands down my favorite.
I think that
no offense to the other guys, but
I think the first thing whenever I was listening to it felt very shiny, very shimmering, like in that 80s style, like petty kind of way.
Well, and, you know, that's what we're all pretty into. Josh and Brandon get into the 80s stuff a lot more than I do, but those sounds and those tones are very 80s, and that's, you know, that's hip now.
Yeah. But that EP is just it's one of those, like, just a perfect 5-song sets.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you know, and the glue behind that record was having Jay Saldana come in and play drums on it. Mm-hmm. You know, Jay, he does a lot of production work also, and we're trying to work together as much as we possibly can now, especially now that we're going to have a room where we can accommodate a full band for live tracking and all that. But, you know, Brandon and Jay go back real far from being up here together, you know, and that's Josh and I first met Jay when he was playing with Will up here, you know.
Yeah.
And we just always got along real well. And when it came to actually working in the studio together, everybody just gelled real well because, we're all buddies. We've all known each other for 7, 8 years. And we set up, and me and Jay were in one room, and Josh and Brandon were in the other, and just said, all right, let's start rolling and see what happens.
Yeah. It was just the 4 of you guys just on the entire record, right?
Parker, I think you got in on that, didn't you? On Brandon's record. Didn't you sing some harmonies? JP was there. There was one day Parker and JP just kind of showed up out of nowhere and were like, hey, cool, let's do some harmonies. I don't know if we kept any of them. I got credit for doing background vocals on that record, but I don't think we kept any of mine either. Which is fine because there was another record we did that I didn't get credit for the background vocals on, so it kind of comes out in the wash,
Yeah. Yeah. Speaking of like new stuff though, Sturgill Simpson recorded that Nirvana cover.
Yeah, they were playing.
Did you hear that?
They were playing that in the van the other day. I was asleep. I woke up about halfway through it, so I don't really have a good frame of reference on it. I've been meaning to check it out. I saw this one guy that posted something saying, I think he said Tori Amos is the only person that has covered Nirvana and not ruined it, and he said he still stands by that. Like I said, I've only heard half of it, so I don't really know.
Yeah.
What I heard, though, sounded cool.
I forgot that she covered that Smells Like Teen Spirit.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's what it was.
I mean, I don't even know.
Too.
I can't even think of anybody else who's covered many Nirvana pieces. I thought it was different than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
I thought after he released those first 2 songs, I thought it was going to be really garage country-ish. Mm-hmm. And in my opinion, this cover went like Sgt. Pepper's.
Yeah.
Beatles kind of.
Who was he working with Dave on it?
They say that Sturgill produced this record all by himself.
Really?
That like Dave Cobb was busy doing something else, and Sturgill was apparently just, I think I got it or something. I don't know. I mean, I wasn't there or anything, but
right. Have you listened to that compilation of his yet? The Dave Cobb one. How is it?
I think it's pretty good. What's his brother's name? Brent.
I don't know.
I think his brother's name's Brent Cobb. He's got a song on there. I think that's probably my favorite song on the record. Anderson East has a great song.
Yeah.
I'd never heard of Anderson East before, and then heard him on there and checked out. I guess he has another record. But then like Morgan Stapleton, mm-hmm. she does that "You Are My Sunshine" with Chris on it, and that's just like probably one of the best, most beautiful dark pieces I've ever, or even just like transitions of a song I've ever seen. You know,
do they still have it? There was some link where you could listen to it. Is that still available? Do you know?
Yeah, I'm sure there is.
I'll check it out. I've been reading a lot about Dave Cobb, and a lot of you talking about working with Josh. A lot of like the way he approaches making records and his ideas and how he interacts with the bands he's working with. There's a lot of Josh in that, and I don't want to compare the two, but it's kind of like working, from what I've read, working with Josh is like working with a Texas Dave Cobb in a trailer house.
Yeah. I'm going to be interviewing Dave Monday.
Really?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool, man.
I know.
How'd you set that up?
Hard work.
No, it was a lot of kiddos.
It was a lot of emails.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's going to be on.
You're going to have to do like a phoner or something?
Yeah.
That's cool.
No, they're flying me up to Nashville.
Yeah, right.
No, but yeah, it's going to be on Lone Star Music. So I'm sure whenever this comes out, it may already be out. So if not, you can go back and read it.
Right. That's cool, man.
But yeah, what else have you been listening to lately?
I got back into Fred Eaglesmith pretty heavy. I've been listening to a lot of Fred Eaglesmith again. I used to listen to Fred Eaglesmith all the fucking time, man. I love Fred Eaglesmith. And then one night I was driving home from a gig, I got twins on the way, and so I have to get home as much as I possibly can anymore. So I was driving home from Houston, I think is where I was, And, it's the middle of the night. It's like 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning. And I'd run out of podcasts to listen to, because that's mostly when I'm driving is I listen to these podcasts, Comedy Bang Bang, and it's hipster comedy. I get a kick out of it. That's really what I've been listening to. Man, I found one the other day with Joe Pug that is doing a podcast now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the second episode was him and James McMurtry. The first one was him and Joe Ely. I haven't listened to that one yet, but the one with McMurtry was real cool. But anyways, I'm driving. I guess I was getting around Waco, and I was like, man, I need something to get me going. And so I there's that Apple Music thing, and I started looking through that, and I was like, Fred Eaglesmith, my old friend. I remember this guy, and just went heavy into a Fred Eaglesmith binge.
Yeah. I guess Parker, they play here like once every couple of years. I remember the last time they were
busy,
here.
Man, that guy is working. He's Man, I saw him. First time I saw him was in the stockyards at that. What the hell's the name of that place? Thirsty Armadillo, and Scott Copeland was opening up for him. So I'm just walking down Exchange Street with my buddy, looking for something to do. It was like a Sunday or something. I go, oh, Copeland's playing. We'll pop in there, mess with him a little bit. And the lady stops me at the door, and she's like, it's $25. And I was like, Scott Copeland? You're out of your damn mind. And she goes, no, he's just opening for Fred Eaglesmith. And so I whipped out a 50, and I was like, we're staying here, man. We're checking this out. It's an interesting show. He's a character.
Yeah. Last time they were here, I know there wasn't many people up there. It was like a Tuesday or Wednesday. Mm-hmm. And they had, they were just kind of getting mad at people in the crowd.
Yeah, that's what he did in Fort Worth, too.
And they had, some clothes set up for sale. Kind of looked a little gypsy-ish.
So not merch, like actual clothing, like Fred Eaglesmith clothing line.
Like female clothing
right.
that you'd find places, I don't know. At like a thrift shop or something. But
he makes interesting musician choices in his bands. I was watching a bunch of YouTube videos, and a lot of times his band just isn't very good. It's like the Neil Young Crazy Horse thing. Yeah. I mean, and that's what makes it part of the show too. It's a fun show.
Yeah. What's your favorite Neil Young record?
Oh, Harvest.
Well, I mean,
the commercial answer.
Yeah. Well, it's better than being like, well, my favorite record is not one of the well-known ones. It's
right.
I'm trying to think of Harvest Moon, maybe.
Yeah. Well, that is a good record.
Well, yeah. You know how people are.
What's the what is it? Rust Never Sleeps. That was a good record too.
Or like if you said like Reactor or something like that, then I would.
Right. Is that shit he did with Devo?
I can't remember if that is or not, but it's an '80s record. It's
I filled in last weekend with the damn Quails. They needed a bass player, and I had the weekend off. And we were playing a show, and we used to, when I played with them a couple years ago, we did Out on the Weekend.
Yeah.
That opening track off Harvest. And we played it again this past weekend, and it just really, I started thinking about that record again, because I used to listen to that record nonstop. It's a really strong record.
Oh, it is. Like, Out on the Weekend.
Such a cool tune.
To me, as much as like Eagles define California rock or LA rock, Out on the Weekend, like that to me should have been the California sound.
Yeah, right, right.
But Harvest, like on Heart of Gold, I still think like one of the top 10 moments of recorded music is when like James Taylor and Linda Ronstadt come in on the harmonies.
I read that they did that in a closet.
Really?
And they were like, they had to get down on their knees, and they were both in the same closet together, and they were just screaming those parts into the microphone.
Huh.
Also, I read that I read a biography on Neil Young several years ago, and they were talking about when they made that record, he brought in all the players, and he knew all the players, but he would make them play different instruments. So, like, his guitar player is playing steel guitar on that record because he wanted steel guitar on the record, but he didn't want a steel guitar player on the record. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So he was making really interesting choices to get those sounds that record got by just doing that, by saying, hey, man, you play guitar, we'll play this steel guitar instead.
Mm-hmm.
And you hear those parts, and just the rawness of them is really cool because that's all those guys knew how to do with the instruments that Neil put in their hands. You know?
What I guess like the backing band, I can't remember what they call them, like the Stray Gators or something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
Which I guess is, I don't even know if they did anything else for him, I don't even know what's the story behind if any of those guys moved on to.
I can't really remember. I know the guitar player that I'm thinking of, his name was like Jack Nietzsche or something like that, and he produced several records for Neil after that, and was just working as one of those LA producers.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't remember the other guys. No, that was the guy that played with him with Crosby, Stills, and Nash. I think his name was Dallas Taylor, was the drummer, and I think they all just went on to do session work mostly.
Yeah.
I can't really remember.
The Crosby, Stills, and Nash, did you hear, like, they, I guess a couple weeks back, apparently Graham Nash told David Crosby to just leave him the fuck alone. And, like, that they're never going to do anything else again. Which,
well, you know, they're old. Their time is done. It's
I'm sure,
for the
though,
younger
like,
generation.
No, I don't know. In 2020, we'll see another tour.
Right.
Did you ever watch that documentary with them about like their reunion shows?
No,
they're doing.
I bet it's a trip though.
It's I had to turn it off. Like that's
because I can't ever think about anything without thinking about The Simpsons also, and something that they have done that I remember. Remember one of Phil Hartman's characters, Lionel Hutz, the attorney?
Yeah.
Apparently he was a recovering alcoholic, and David Crosby was his sponsor. He runs out of the courtroom at one point and makes a call, and he goes, David, I'm tempted. And then it's The Simpsons, David Crosby. Oh, Lord, that cracks me up.
Yeah. I don't know. Partly why I turned it off was because, like, they were just so old.
Yeah.
And like a lot of people always make fun of like David Crosby for like letting himself go,
right,
or something like that. But those people have not seen Stephen Stills. You know,
is he in pretty bad shape now?
Well, like he's just like, I don't know. This documentary is probably like 10 years old.
Okay.
Or so, but like Stephen Stills, you know, he's the fat guy on stage, not David Crosby. But
yeah,
that
that book I was talking about, that Neil Young book, talked about Stephen Stills a lot, and
which he's a Texas guy,
right? But he didn't. The author of this book didn't make Stephen out to be the easiest guy in the world to get on with.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I wasn't there, but
yeah, I don't know. It's one of those things where all those guys are like right now is the first time when those second generations of rock stars are actually, if they made it out of the 70s, you know, they're getting into old age.
Right.
And now those guys are dropping like flies, which is, I think, you know, if we took it out of, if we put it within the context of that, it's not very surprising, but you know, it's hitting people pretty hard as far as people dying off, you know. Has there been a rock star death that hit you?
Man, it wasn't a rock star death, but Chuck Pyle died, and I mean he's a rock star in his own right.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd gotten the chance to hang out with him several times over the past 10 years or so, and when he died, that really messed me up for a while. I lost sleep for a couple days, and it just kind of reevaluated a lot of who I was and what I was doing because of that and because of who he was. So like at the time, actually, Josh and I were discussing making a record for me, and I put all plans for that on hold because Chuck's death just kind of really made me reevaluate myself as a writer.
Yeah.
And I said, you know, we'll get to my record when we get to my record, but the songs aren't there yet. And since then, I've been trying to not necessarily restructure things in a way that Chuck would have done them, but do something that he would be proud of, I guess.
Yeah. That extra filter of, as far as making sure the songs are strong in every, no throwaway lines or words.
That's what he would do. That's how his songs are all. They're all structured perfectly. Great melodies, killer guitar parts. The guy was like 4 different fucking guitar players in one. He'd be sitting there walking this ridiculous bass line with these, simple triads that would lead into these melodic runs. I don't know how I did it. I sit there and try and just get my mind blown every time. So yeah, that got to me. It still gets to me. He was a really sweet guy, and he died fly fishing. So I mean, that's cool. That's a good way to go.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's I've never been fly fishing, so
I haven't either. But he used to go all the time. So like for him, it's like you're either gonna die with a guitar in your hand or a fly rod in your hand.
Yeah,
I think if he could have chose, those would have been his 2 options.
Yeah, follow your bliss.
Right.
So, yeah, I'm gonna throw you some strange hypothetical questions out there.
Shoot.
Okay, zombie apocalypse happens,
and
you have to follow one singer-songwriter who's going to be like your leader, leader of your, I guess, clan. Who are you choosing?
That's a really good question.
Based off of their songs, based off their.
I'd either have to go Fred Eaglesmith or Chris Knight.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think both of them have traveled enough to know how to get around real well, and I think Chris Knight's probably killed some people, so
Yeah.
There's that.
The thing about Chris Knight is in the zombie apocalypse, he wouldn't have to hide bodies anymore.
Right.
Just cut that part out completely. But
what about you?
I've always said Ray Wiley Hubbard.
Yeah.
I feel like
he'd be a good one.
I was talking with Drew Kennedy about this, and he said, well, he thinks Ray would be a little too much of a pacifist.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
And I'm like, well, I mean, I think he'd still be a good leader. That's my hope.
Yeah,
would be, and I'm sure he would have sound advice,
right,
in every situation.
He'd probably try to find the balance.
Yeah,
try to get everybody to live harmoniously.
Yeah,
through through one chord groove songs.
Yeah. Drew said James McMurtry because.
Oh man, I wouldn't I love McMurtry. He's hands down my favorite songwriter, but I would not follow him in the zombie. I don't think he would let anybody follow him in the zombie apocalypse.
He's a loner. He's a lone wolf.
I think he would just head for the fucking hills.
Yeah.
And say, man, good luck to all y'all. I saw this coming.
Part of Drew's philosophy on this was that James has a lot of artillery.
That is true. That is true.
But,
he's a big gun guy.
Yeah, that's actually part of the thing, though, is maybe don't choose James just because of the whole aspect of one day waking up and him being gone.
Yeah,
and you're
right.
like, what the fuck, man? He took everything.
If you put James and Ray together, that might be a pretty good team.
Yeah. I wonder. I don't know if they've ever written songs together. I don't know if James McMurtry does too much co-writing.
I don't think he does. I've followed his career pretty extensively, and never really seen him mention any of that.
Yeah.
I think Tim Holt might have a couple co-writes with him.
Yeah.
Tim's his sound guy and guitar player and tour manager. I think he got credit on a couple of things.
Yeah. I back in college, I interviewed him one time, and it was before a calf fry, and it was at the amphitheater, and so I went back there, and really one of the first interviews I've done did in person with a musician, and it was just so intimidating, sitting there in one of those back rooms. They're all drinking wine, and obviously not a wino by any means. And I was just like, oh God, you guys, you don't have a beer or something instead? So we went and sat outside and did an interview out there, and I don't know.
Was it hard?
I spilt the wine.
Yeah.
That's what
Well,
happened.
he spills wine a lot, so I wouldn't feel too bad about that. I saw him kick wine all over his pedal board on several occasions. I went out. I was playing with Johnny Burke, and we opened for McMurtry for about 30 days. It was me and Ryan Tharp and Aaron Stanfield backing up Johnny, and that was the most nervous I've ever been on a tour because I didn't want to fanboy out on McMurtry. I mean, I wanted to, really bad, but I didn't want to, And we were in Asbury Park. And we were talking about how he used to come up to New Jersey back in the 80s, and he was telling me about that. I don't know if I should finish this story.
You can finish it after we stop recording this.
There wasn't a bathroom in the green room, but there was a bottle of wine.
Didn't McMurtry open up for Mellencamp for a while?
Yeah, Mellencamp produced his first record. His dad was working on a screenplay for a movie, and John was doing the music for the movie. And so Larry kind of slid him a demo tape and was like, "Hey, check out my kid, see if he's got some songs that you think could fit in this movie." And Mellencamp called Larry back and was like, "Hey, your son's really good. He doesn't need to be doing anything for this movie. Send him out to Indiana, and I'll produce a record for him." So that first record, I was actually just listening to it today on the way up here. Too Long in the Wasteland is Mellencamp and his road band backing up McMurtry.
Yeah.
And they got some soul singers.
I think Mellencamp is honestly really underrated as a songwriter.
Man, I've always dug his stuff. Yeah.
I mean, Tom Petty gets a lot of credit for pushing heartland rock in a way, and it's all deserved. But Mellencamp's Pink Houses and Small Town, those have a good sound to them. Yeah, they're maybe a little bit more dated than Tom Petty's stuff. They definitely feel a little bit more 80s.
Yeah, but I think that's part of the
think
thing. Is that he did he created that 80s fucking snare drum sound, But Petty was able to
transcend
past, transcend generations, and I don't think Mellencamp really has done a good job of that. Well, but, the fuck do I know? It's John Mellencamp,
I don't know. He's got a couple. His new records are more country folk kind of stuff.
Are they? I haven't checked it out. I really shouldn't be talking about it if I haven't listened to it.
I mean, it's not like I'm an expert on his new stuff at all.
Right.
But I've listened through. They're okay. They're the same. It's one of those things about anybody who gets old and starts making records. How do you not become a caricature of yourself? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's something that everyone's had trouble with. Even Dylan Springsteen.
Right.
The only guy who I feel never really has done that is Leonard Cohen. Cohen's always just been so he's always, and I think that's probably the main reason on that is because even though he was young making these records, he wasn't that young. I think like Cohen's first record, he's already in his 30s. Yeah. So in a lot of ways, his first records are already like old man records.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. Do you think, like, as fans, you think it's our fault that they start to feel that way? That they might become, what was the phrase you used, a puppet of yourself?
Yeah, like a
character of yourself, yeah. Like, do you think that we as fans have put these expectations on them to be a certain thing?
I think it's that. I think it's also just once you're that big, you're on a label, a major label,
right?
And so you have to think about like all the people they're employing, right? So it's not just like them making money; it's like everyone who's going on these tours they're making all their money based off of this specific person playing music,
right?
Which I mean, any of those guys could, like Springsteen, and anytime he goes out, it's not like he's playing just new material. He's doing the hits. He's playing 3 fucking hours of music, and he's going through Born in the USA, Born to Run.
Right.
So he obviously could just do that if he wanted.
Yeah, and there's some guys that do that, but I think guys like Springsteen are always wanting a little more out of themselves as artists. And wanting to push that. But it's strange because sometimes they try to like fit into the times and what's going on around them, and that doesn't work so well.
Yeah. It's like I can't remember who it was. Oh, I know. It is Springsteen. If you look at Springsteen's Born in the USA, there's like some synth on it and stuff, you know? And it's obviously because it came out in 84 and like Thriller came out in 82 and Van Halen's 1984 came out in 84 and it has like that little, and it's in, it's Born in the USA by all means is a pop record.
Yeah, totally.
And so that like there's a little synth on like I'm on fire and and to me that it just pushes you back into the 80s with that. I think there's some stuff with Dylan that Dylan had that his 80s records feel very 80s.
Yeah, there was
I think like the record Oh Mercy, I believe.
Oh Mercy, that was
or like Under
the
Red
Daniel
Sky.
What's that guy's name?
Lenoir.
Yeah, he produced that one, I believe. What's the one that's got Brownsville Girl on it?
Is that not Oh Mercy?
I don't think so. I can't recall off the top of my head. It's like a fucking 11-minute song that he co-wrote with Zevon.
Well, I'll look it up real quick.
Okay.
Oh, see, it's Knockout Loaded. There you go.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. But yeah, those are. I got those 80s sounds. I don't know. The 80s was a bad time.
I don't know. I mean, I still think the 80s is underrated, man. Like, maybe not as far as great songwriters.
Yeah.
But, like, bands like, I don't know, like the Smiths.
Yeah.
The Replacements.
But you also had people doing
really shitty shit.
Well, yeah, really shitty shit, and then really cool shit like that, or like Guitar Town.
Yeah.
All those guys, I forget what...
Like Rodney Crowell's stuff in the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
Even like George Strait's 80s records are... They're a little more honky-tonk than the 90s stuff, but in my opinion, that's what makes them great.
Yeah, totally. Because that was pre-pop as far as country music is concerned.
Yeah.
So then when the 90s came, that's when... it became pop,
My theory on what killed 90s country was really like 3 things. One being Shania Twain being called country music.
Mm-hmm.
That's That's partly like Dave Martinez told me about that, and I was like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. 2, it's not necessarily a 90s thing, but after 9/11 happened, we got real patriotic in our country music, like Toby Keith kind of shit.
Yeah.
And I'm not even saying like that's necessarily bad, but
No,
what
it
ends
was
up
great
happening
for Lee Greenwood.
Yeah. What ends up happening though is like these guys, it's not a far leap from being real patriotic to what else is American?
Yeah.
Oh, back roads, dirt roads.
Mm-hmm.
You can obviously go from there and see
Right.
that it's not too far of a leap. So I said 3 things, but I think I'm not going Rick Perry here and forgetting the third
Right.
thing. I think it's just those 2. Yeah, we're coming up on like 50 minutes here.
A lot of people,
a
lot of people blame Garth Brooks for a lot of that too. I don't. I never had a problem with Garth Brooks.
I think Garth is great, actually.
Yeah. I just thought it was weird that they would, which I guess like the stage show wise he did.
Yeah.
He changed the show aspect of it.
Smashing guitars. And,
pyrotechnics and all that.
Yeah. But like a lot of his later stuff, like the late 90s and early 2000s, that kind of like,
Yeah.
But like, Much Too Young or like The River, Rodeo, like all that stuff is really great. And also, very underrated about Garth Brooks is that he co-wrote a whole lot of that stuff. You know?
Right.
Which, people always bitch about people not writing their own music. I mean, at least he had a hand in it. But anyways,
where are we at?
We're about 50 minutes in. You want to play a song?
Yeah, sure.
All right. Well, let's do that.
So I got this tune. There's 3 songs that are going through my head right now. One of them, I can't remember what it's about. The other one, I kind of wrote about being on tour with a couple of guys that were assholes, and I decided that I wanted to be the only asshole in the group. I think I'll play that one. Last night I tried to beat the devil. I thought I had the trick up my sleeve. Dice roll, thought you were on the level. I lost my ass in ways you wouldn't believe. I hear your voice but never too clear. Mumbled and jumbled, a slack-jawed dirge. Distant, but in my head right here. Don't haunt me louder, I know the words. Carry me down. Carry me down where the lost and the lonely roll. Carry me down. Carry me down, let the ferryman take my soul. Cried out for loneliness to save me. I got it tattooed across my chest. Lost sight of everything holy. And looking back, I thought I knew me best. Carry me down. Carry me down where the lost and the lonely roll. Carry me down. Carry me down, let the ferryman take his toll. You run around, you claim to be ragged, knock me down. Or it's more like dragged and took my will and stretched your paper thin, but better still, you placed a bet that did me and carry me down. Carry me down where the lost and the lonely roll. Carry me down. Carry me down, let the ferryman take his toll.